Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Niko House, and today I am here to report to you a hate crime on a police officer in New York City named Amil Asokari. The hate crime was committed against her and her son. The assailant harassed her and, in fact, pushed down her 16-year-old son. Granted, she was off duty when this happened. This was a hate crime, nonetheless, and the reason that he attacked her was because she was a Muslim. She was also a hijabi. For those of you who don't know, those are the Muslim women who make the choice to cover themselves completely, including wearing the head wrap that many of you are familiar with. This is my issue, other than the fact that this was a hate crime. And it indeed was a hate crime. And I'm happy that Blasio has called it such, and we have not tried to beat around the bush. This is another example of how you cannot have a situation where you say, quote unquote, blue lives matter, because there's no such thing as a blue life. There's a choice to be blue, which is a career choice. But when you take that uniform back off, you can go home and you can choose to be white. You can go home, you can choose to be black. You can go home, you can choose to be Latino. Your skin tone does not change, just your occupation. But when you leave that house, this is the reason why we say Black Lives Matter. When you leave that house, when you hop out of that uniform, when you hop into that uniform, you don't wake up every day with a choice as to what race or ethnicity you want to be. You don't wake up and have a choice as to how you want people to perceive you. You can want people to perceive you a certain way, but the way they perceive you, you can only do so much about. How they view you, you have such little influence over, unless you've had direct engagement with them, that it can't be compared to taking up an occupation and then pretending like you didn't have any autonomy in that choice. It also addresses another issue. The issue that we do not want to hold accountability, well, we don't want to have accountability for all those people who tend to scream out Blue Lives Matter, but it's only when they believe a Black Lives protester was involved or a black person was involved that they somehow connect to the Black Lives Matter movement simply because they are in fact black. What we have not seen, and I've been scouring the internet all morning, are those jumping to this Muslim woman's defense, attacking verbally or through the internet or whatever that assailant who victimized that woman, screaming out Blue Lives Matter, calling him a thug, calling him a gangster, saying he needs to be put down. You know, all the lovely language they love to use on Black Lives Matter protesters. We've not seen that, which begs the question, is this a pattern? Because it is one. The truth of the matter is, we've seen a 59% increase already this year in police shootings. Most of them were done by white males. But that narrative isn't sold to you by the mainstream media like they love to sell you the racist narrative, the racism narrative. And racism is indeed real. But as mainstream media likes to show you black versus white or white versus black, what they don't like to show you is the constant and truthful reality that white versus white is much more prevalent than black versus white. Believe it or not. This coded rhetoric of Blue Lives Matter, this coded rhetoric of urban, thug, illegal immigrant, whatever, is exactly that. It is coded racist rhetoric that has facilitated a conversation that people have become more comfortable with, but never actually having to admit that they are, in fact, racist. And the problem with this coded rhetoric is that some people don't even realize that it is merely code for racism. And until we address that, Until we address this coded rhetoric, until you confront your friends, your family, until mainstream media starts confronting each other, we will continue to see hypocrisy run rampant, which will lead to things like Donald Trump once again becoming elected, like Hillary Clinton having an opportunity to become elected. Because they play on fears, they play on irrationality, and they play on ignorance. And this coded rhetoric fosters ignorance. Donald Trump is an issue. He is a problem. His rhetoric has been a problem, and it is causing us problems right now. But I will say this, the one good thing that has come out of this is that places like New York are taking hate crimes much more seriously. They're calling these hate crimes what they are, and that is a fact. And the good thing is they're prosecuting them like they should be. That is a fact. And we hopefully will see this more across the country. We need to expose racism. We don't need to keep it hidden and buried deep. We need to expose racists. We need to let them know that they're racist. We need to let the people around them know that they are racist. That is wrong. And if you associate with them, then you are wrong as well. Let's stop with the coded language. If you want to have a conversation, let's have it. But if you're going to scream Blue Lives Matter, then you better scream it every time. Not just when you think the assailant is black.